He's single and ready to mingle. Okay. I know a lady that wrote a book. She wasn't a believer. She wrote a book called Sexy, Single, and Ready to Mingle. And I go, I guess that's not a Christian book, but anyway, he's single. He is single. Anyway, so Tony, sorry, Derek Gates is here. Derek is married though, and Derek is going to be sharing just a few minutes tonight. He's done a lot in California politically, and we're seeing California change politically, aren't we, Derek? Yeah, amen. So Tony, and anyway, Tony, you also had a table that was back there, and you had some literature on there, and it was actually people could make a donation, but everybody took stuff, and nobody left a donation. So we're not going to say poor Tony, rich Tony, but if you want it, where is your table?
It's over here in the corner.
Yeah, go by there. If anybody took his material, if you can just go and kind of bless him, because this guy works really hard, and he works for, anyway, I don't want to say, I know you work very hard and you don't get well compensated for what you do because you're fighting for the kingdom. Anyway.
Amen. Yes, thank you. My name is Tony Pellegrino, and I'm an extremist. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't Patriots Anonymous, right? I mean, that's what the left wants us to do. They want us to be anonymous. They want us to be quiet. They're going to censor us. And so basically, about the back at the book table, so I have people who want to take a stance. Right now I'm helping people sue the Attorney General of the state of California. Is that a good thing? How about Senator Scott Wiener? He's one of my favorite ones. Mary was mentioning that on her Wednesday night Zoom call. We're filing a lawsuit against him. He violated his oath of office, kind of the similar lawsuit that Lloyd did. I'm impeaching 2 federal judges in a remonstrance before Congress. And I actually, with the help of some people in Western Pennsylvania, we drained our local swamp. So what we want to do is remedy. This is what we need. We need remedy. All this intel, all this stuff is good. We need to be informed. And, just the level of deception in what we thought we knew. And most of the stuff that we thought we knew, we were lied to. Almost like everything I was taught in high school. I was like, is there anything that I was taught that was true? And I was fasting and praying. I've shared this story before, but real quick, I was fasting and praying after 9/11, and the Lord spoke to me. And I saw a little vision, and the Lord said to me, patriotism will return to this nation. And this is in 2001. And as a sign to you, the New England Patriots will win the Super Bowl. Well, I didn't. And I saw a vision of the new helmet. They changed their helmet logo. And so I opened up the newspaper, and I looked in the newspaper, and we're the Patriots. They were 5-6, and they were last in their division, and I was a big football fan. And I'm like, how are they going to win the Super Bowl? They won the remainder of their games, and Tom Brady, who never started a football game, ended up replacing Drew Bledsoe and took New England Patriots to beat the greatest show on turf to win the Super Bowl as 9-1 underdogs, okay? So it was like, okay, Lord, you got my attention. But I didn't know what patriotism was back then. And basically, patriots confront tyrants. Anybody hear that phrase that from time to time, the tree of liberty must be mingled with the blood of tyrants and patriots. And in 1776, a group by the name of the Black Robe Regiment I wasn't there, but I believe they opened up their Bibles to Ecclesiastes 3:3, and it says there's a time to kill and a time to let live. And that's pretty extreme times if you're a minister and you got to put down your Bible and take up a musket and shoot redcoats in the face. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't over the Boston Tea Party. You think ministers put down their Bibles and shot redcoats in the face over a 2% tax? No. I'll share you what it was. Anybody ever hear of the Third Amendment of the Bill of Rights? Because I don't even know it off by heart, because it really doesn't apply that much. But the Third Amendment of the Bill of Rights says that to quarter soldiers, it has to be done according to the law. Because what would happen pre-1776 are the redcoats would show up at your house. And they'd say, oh, we're going to stay at your house. You need to quarter us. By the way, you're going to cook us food, and we're going to help ourselves to your wine and to your, your food and your whiskey or whatever you have. Oh, by the way, my soldiers are lonely. We're going to help ourselves to your wives. We're going to help ourselves to your little girls. Then it's a time to kill, right? So here we are now. The reason why we repeat history is because we don't know it. And you're doomed to repeat it if you don't know it. And so what we need is to avoid a civil war. We don't want bloodshed on our soil here. God hasn't given any of us a license to kill anybody. So what we can do is by civil means. We need people like Martin Luther King to raise up a bunch of people. Even Gandhi. I mean, these leaderships went and had peaceful revolutions. And so it's difficult times right now. And so getting back into 01 when I was fasting and praying, and, God's telling me about patriotism, so I started studying, the Constitution and whatnot. And I noticed that during the election with Bush and Gore, I was a painting contractor, and I was wallpapering this guy's house. And I'm walking by the television set, and here we are at the election. It was election night, and I was working late. And I told this man, I go, well, we'll know tonight who's going to win. And this man looked at me and said, we're not going to know for months who's going to win this election. Now, how did he know that? Remember the hanging Chad? Anybody remember that? That's why they're like, oh, we can't go to these paper ballots. We get to go to these machines. Well, we're seeing this later. So, these things are implemented, and it's just amazing about the mind control that Kathy was just sharing about, because it's real. I didn't realize I was exposed to mind control. When I was down in Hurricane Katrina, I was volunteering down there, and I cut my hand. And I decided I need to go get a tetanus shot because, right, we're told this over and over and over again. You get a rusty nail, you get a tetanus shot. So I got a tetanus shot. There was a FEMA nurse there. How convenient. I didn't have to fill out paperwork, go to the hospital. I go get my tetanus shot. Guess what happened to me for the next 10 years? Chronic fatigue syndrome. And so this is like we're under mind control. 10 years later, after I know I was poisoned, I'm pulling lumber out of the back of my pickup truck bed, and I ripped my finger open on a rusty spot in my back of my metal bed of the pickup truck, and the first thing that comes into my mind is what? I heard my own voice say, I need a tetanus shot. I'm telling you, mind control is real. That is outrageous. And I heard it in my mind. I go, I can't believe I'm under mind control. We have to deprogram from all this stuff. But getting back to what I'm doing here is what I'm going to do is bring remedy. So the inherent power is in the people. It's in every single one of our state constitutions. The power is in the people. The power is not in a politician. The power is not in a lawyer. Okay? And so we need to take our power back because we're waiting for politicians and we're voting and we need to vote, but that's about the lowest level of civic duty that we can do. So we're starting to go into these county supervisors meetings. And so I got a call from my sister that she got called into a public meeting and humiliated by the board because they were trying to kick her out of her house because she had just brought in property to where they were fracking, okay? And I'm all for energy. And so their Equitable Gas, they do a lot of fracking in western Pennsylvania. So my sister calls up and says, they're trying to take my land from me. So I go down there and we have a town hall meeting. And this is how we take our communities back and we get busy is we have to take the pawns off the board, okay? If we got white hats up at the top working our way down, we need to be at the bottom working our way up. Let's take back local control. We need to do that because we are able to do that. And the problem is the deception of we think that we don't have rights. And there's a difference between the word people and person. And this is in law. When Heyman was showing all his screenshots about what the law is saying about United States, it's a corporation. And the word person is a corporation. Did it say in the Bill of Rights that the United States citizens have a right to keep and bear arms? Well, actually it says it's the right of the people to keep and bear arms. It's the right of the people to get due process. It's the right of the people to redress and remonstrate their government. First Amendment, the right to redress government. Guess what government it means? Is that singular or plural? It's plural. So if it's the right of the people to redress government, plural, that doesn't mean you have the right to go in before a judge under the First Amendment. That's a common law right. When you go in and you say, I've been wronged and I'm filing paperwork with the courts. But the right of the people to redress government, that's called a remonstrance. And what it is, it's a petition through your local legislature in your own state. Every state constitution tells you have the right to remonstrate. And so it's the right of the people. So can lawyers remonstrate? No. Can politicians do that? No, it's up to me. So I think it was about 6 months ago, AB 957, what it was they passed transgender affirmation. It went through the House, and then it went through the Senate. And what that bill was saying was basically, you cannot have control of and custody and care of your own natural child if they want to transition. We're talking 12 years old. They want to take 12-year-olds and cut their penises off, and people tell me not to be angry. Okay? Or mastectomies on a 12-year-old girl. Okay? So this is the deal. So that was, you know what? That was the bottom line for me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put my name on a document against this. So I filed a remonstrance, and I served 39 senators. And I put my John Hancock on that. And I says, if you guys pass this law, I can't tell you how to vote, but you're violating your oath of office. Because ignorance is no excuse of the law. That's what they'll tell you if you break one little infraction. So I basically told them, and then I went a step further than that. I basically put down the laws that they were violating. First Amendment, right? You know, you have your religious rights, okay? You have a right to control custody and care of your kid. And you also have a Ninth Amendment right, which is parental rights. So I says you're violating the First Amendment, the Ninth Amendment, certain articles of the California State Constitution. So if you vote on this, it's not even votable. The whole bill is just unconstitutionally defective. And I says, I will sue you in federal court for deliberate indifference if you guys pass this. But do as you will. So they passed it. Anyways, right? They're doubling down. I don't even want to say it. It's almost like they're urinating in our faces, guys, really. They're just begging us to sue them. So let's do it. Let's drag them into court. When you get subpoena power, subpoena power is powerful. Are they doing it to Trump? All this lawfare are their weapons and their avenues that we can use against them. I'm not an attorney. People go Tony, are you an attorney? I'm like, no, I'm better. You know, I'm not going to take $40,000 of your money and then take a dive in the fifth round and said, well, the judge ruled against us. So basically, getting back to transgender affirmation, I had put them on notice, and then the Governor Newsom vetoed the bill. And in his press release, he basically said that this bill will not survive the courts because in my remonstrance, I put the federal lawsuit in there. It was airtight. There's no way they could win in court. And so he vetoed the bill, which also gave me a signal that I believe he's going to jump in the presidential race because he doesn't want to be being sued, from an extremist. So that was a huge victory there against that, and we can do that to any bill that we want, guys. This new bill, even if they pass it, a remonstrance is to stop something that's moving forward, or stop a politician, or remove them from office. So I'm impeaching 2 federal judges from Idaho right now in the United States Congress. And so we can't hire lawyers to do this. We, the people, have to do it, and they won't do it for us. So this is a lot of alternative law. There's another alternative method called coordination. And what coordination does, it gives local power over the federal government, over the alphabet agency. So that new Chevron case that just got ruled on by the Supreme Court, it further weakened them to use coordination, which basically forces federal and state agencies to come in consistency with the local agency. So that's why we need people in local office there at the county supervisor level. But getting back to Union Township, so my sister calls me back and says, they're railroading me and they're doubling down. So I went and had a town hall meeting, and I says, how many people here believe that they're being bullied by this township? And I saw hands go up. And I says, come up and share your story, 3 minutes, real quick. How is this township violating your rights? And this was after Bill of Rights training, when I went through the Bill of Rights and showed how you apply the Bill of Rights, to your everyday life, owning a home, taxes. Oh my God, I don't even want to get on that. Go see Heyman to that tomorrow. If I wasn't going to be around, I would go to his seminar, but I'm going to be actually in Victory Park. What a good place to have a Liberty meeting in Pasadena tomorrow. So if you're heading up north, come visit me at Victory Park in Pasadena at 2 p.m. It's going to be a picnic. So anyways, we filed a lawsuit against Union Township supervisors, and can we roll that video on that, please? And so basically, what happened was, at the end of the day, mass resignations. This is what the newspaper said, and then we had the local news play station do a piece on it when they came to. We got the video. So basically, I'll just let the video roll.
Who is in charge? That is the question people in Washington County are asking themselves. Every supervisor in Union Township suddenly resigned except for one. Channel 11's Gabriella DeLuca spoke with neighbors who had no idea anything had changed.
The parking lot at the Union Township building is empty and concerns are mounting in the small community.
It's very scary, not to have anybody. It's ridiculous. It is. That's ridiculous.
4 out of 5 township supervisors resigned recently, plus the township CPA and solicitor. As of now, there's only one supervisor left to serve the township.
You got to have somebody spending the money, and I'd like to see some things get done.
When we tried to find out why township leaders are abandoning their positions, most of our calls went unanswered. But former supervisor Michael Barna sent us his resignation letter, which painted an ugly picture of what may have unfolded at township meetings and on social media. He wrote in part, "I'm uncomfortable and saddened by much of what has been brought to light. I've witnessed public harassing and intimidating behavior." He went on to say there have been sensitive materials shared on social media. Materials that were shared on social media were posted with harmful intent. There have been heinous comments and false accusations made in meetings and on social media that go against my personal beliefs and morals. Harry Wall lives in Union Township and has even attended a few meetings.
I would call it hateful or mean, but they questioned him. To me, it was friendly. Don't get me wrong, people got heated, but so what? That's life.
At this point, it's unclear exactly what Barna was referring to, but residents are concerned about what the lack of leadership means for the township.
You got to have one. You got to do, somebody's got to manage the money and do all the things that's supposed to be done.
Gabriella DeLuca, Channel 11 News.
And to his point, we reached out to county commissioners who tell us they are aware of what's happening, but they have no authority to intervene. We'll keep you updated.
4 out of 5 supervisors resign. That's how you fight corruption. We had one lady there that would attend the meetings and film them every day. Her name was Denise. And everybody is important in this meeting, not just people standing on the stage. Every single one of you have civic duty and civic responsibility to be the keepers of the republic. And that's why the power is in the people. When Trump says, when he got elected, he says he wants to take the power off these bureaucrats and give it back to the people. But I don't think we were ready to wield our power in 2016. I think we are sick and tired and fed up, and we're ready to wield that power. And we can use these civil remedies to end up filing lawsuits against these things. And so what I'm always doing is looking for somebody who will stand up, and it's usually the people who don't have a lot of money that want to stand up. It's your blue-collar people. And so that's why I'm facilitating these federal lawsuits, but we don't have funding for that. But we're seeing results. Union Township, we ended up removing 11 out of 12 people of their local government. That was just the supervisors. We're talking about solicitors who are attorneys, 2 attorneys, and it was just a bunch of corruption. And then they tried to take my sister's property after we filed the lawsuit. They doubled down. So there's going to be retaliatory animus. They're going to retaliate, but you got to know when God calls you to the war, you got to run into battle. And I don't want to feel like Uriah running into the front lines and, no one's behind me. So we need to support one another. And so this stuff works. We need to use coordination. We need to do remonstrances to stop these bills. Does anybody remember Judge Kavanaugh when he was elected to the Supreme Court? I was chuckling when that happened because he's the guy that penned the Patriot Act, right? Anybody read the Patriot Act? It kind of takes away the due process of like our J6ers. They want to call you terrorists and then don't give you your right to a speedy trial and stuff like that. And here he is, the guy who wrote the Patriot Act. He's on trial for something he didn't do and being drugged through the system. And but anyway, so that was a remonstrance, the right to redress government. It was the whole Senate who was the judge and jury there. Remember that? And so a citizen, her name was Ford, she had the redress of government. This man allegedly hurt me and he shouldn't sit on the Supreme Court. And they did the same thing to Clarence Thomas too. So that's a picture of what remonstrance is. You take your redress, you write it down on paper. I have examples out there on the table. I think I have a few left. And basically, you file it in with the Secretary of Senate, and then you let the Senate do the investigation like they did with Kavanaugh, and then they found him not guilty. And that's why he's sitting on the Supreme Court right now. And we're seeing a lot of good things coming from the Supreme Court, especially Second Amendment. Like I says, in the Second Amendment, it's the right of the people to keep and bear arms. And as Heyman was showing on the screen with some of these laws, these words mean things. Okay, the word U.S. citizen is, I used to be proud, I'm a U.S. citizen. Well, that's a corporation. And so anybody ever hear of the War of 1812? This is another thing we weren't taught. In the War of 1812, the 13th Amendment came out right before that. And guess what the original 13th Amendment says? That lawyers cannot hold public office. So what happened in 1812 is Britain basically came over with the Templars, the Bar Templars, and burned our White House down and killed 100 congressmen. And then they rewrote the 13th Amendment that says, we're going to free all the slaves, okay? And then the 14th Amendment says, oh, now we're going to make all you guys slaves. Read the 14th Amendment. The subject citizens are granted privileges and immunities. Do we have immunities or do we have rights? In privileged places with Christ Jesus, we legislate from the heavenly realms. We do it. But we have seats of authority in the earth. And we vacated those seats of authority, and we've asked lawyers and politicians to fix stuff. We got to take our seat of authority in the earth and tell these squatters that we're the owners, we're the landlords, you guys are tenants, and you guys are fired. So we need to use these weapons and turn them on these people, and this is a civil way to do it.
You're fired. No, I mean, yeah. Yeah, don't you love Tony? Yes, Tony. Well, Tony, listen, we honor you, and you know what, where is your table again in the back there? And where can people find you online? Because there's several hundred people watching online.
ACLG-liberty.com.
.com?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, and can they, you're not a nonprofit, so how can people?
There's a donate button on there, or you can, and I have a Cash App too. It's $ACLA Law, L-A-W, ACLA Law, not ACLU. ACLU stands for Antichrist Lovers Unite. It's ACLA, L-A-W.
ACLA.
L-A-W, okay. With the Cash App in front of it. So thank you.
Okay, Tony, we love you, Tony. Well, listen.